Hey guys, it's Dave coming to you from the dog yard here in Southern Maryland. It is Sunday evening. I guess it's coming up on 7 o'clock. It's actually raining, just drizzling a little bit, so I've got us under the trees. That way, if it actually does rain a little bit or keeps raining, I can keep filming and keep having my cigar. So, if you guys watching my cigar idiot video, I'm going to go with my Partagas Black tonight. So it's that 6x60, 6 inches long, 60 ring gauge, 6x60. Some will call this a Gordo, some will call this a Gigante. That's the size, by the way. This is a dark Maduro wrap. I can't tell you what the binder or the filler is, I just don't know. I have not cut it yet. I'm going to cut it the way I taught you guys to do it. I'm going to put it on a flat surface, which is my leg. And since my leg is softer than a desk, you'll see that I got a little bit thicker cut than I showed you. So I got to be careful. This could unravel on me a little bit because it cut most of the entire cap off, which is not what we're looking for. All right, it's time to light it. I'll be back in a minute. So there's the cut. Nice. It's a nice full, open straight cut. So the other thing, some will consider a 6x60 too big. 60 ring gauge is hard. It's a big cigar to get your lips around. That's what she said, right? So just beware. Sometimes you got to smoke it almost against your lips as opposed to in your mouth. It's not a clencher, in my opinion. But a 6x60 gives you a nice long cigar. It gives you a nice long smoke. I mean, it gives you a nice cool smoke. I really do enjoy it. So I got the 30-year-old jet lighter out. And I guess we can just do it right here. Start warming it up. Get it lit. Toast the foot. There, I just said that just for Jim. I know it makes him wince. Yeah, I'm actually doing more than toasting. I'm burning it a little bit. It's got a really nice draw on it with that deep cut. Needs a little bit more. These 6x60s, these big, thick, densely rolled cigars, probably the hardest of the cigars to light and get lit consistently, uniformly, and lit well. That's lit pretty good. So it's lit all the way around. I'll see if I left any dark spots here in a minute. See if I need to touch up the light. But I'll do that on camera tonight. I'm going to turn you around and show you one of the holes my dogs love to dig in. This is currently one of their favorites. You can just see how nasty and muddy that is. Chance largely ignores it. He just eats the grass around it. Sometimes he eats the dirt. He's a dirt eater. He's a wonderful dog. He looks great, looks kind of noble, but he's pretty much a retard. But I love him. He's 10. Let's see, we've got Echo's been out on her own doing catch. So she's going to lay there and be happy and worn out for the evening, I think. And the two hooligans are back here around that corner. Can't even show them to you. Anyway, you'll have to be happy looking at Chance again. Hey, it's funny. Normally I'm sitting. Hey, here comes Sasha. So normally I'm sitting right out there in that corner. So when you normally see me, I'm sitting out there. Not that you need to know that, but why not tell you? So let me show you how this thing is lit right now. So you can see this looks pretty well lit, pretty even. But then as I turn around, you got this side really isn't as lit as well. So I got one side not quite as well lit and one side pretty well lit. So what you can do is you just want to touch your light up a little bit. Put the side that you need to get a little more lit down. And just be careful, just touch it. Otherwise you'll burn this side more and you'll just play this never-ending game of trying to catch up one side with the next. Which I do all the time, by the way. But this thing is lit well, it's burning well, it's drawing well. So I found with these big 60 ring, the flat cuts work way better than the punch cuts. There's just a lot more area there for air to come through. A punch cut would be a quarter of that. That's nice. It's pretty bold. It's pretty in your face. It's not a beginner cigar at all. See, my light's a little messed up on this side, but I'm going to be done messing with it right now. So several of you have been asking about the tobacco you've sent me and have I tried it yet. I've gotten several of those the last few weeks, and the answer is no. If you've not seen me smoke it on camera at all, I haven't touched it yet. So let me tell you what my thinking is and my plan is. So I did Black Locust because I wanted to try it. I'd never done Sun Bear, and I was one of the first to do a review of it. So I want to get that done. Then I did Irish Oak or Irish Cask, which really came from Potter Piper, but I took it from Ghost Cobb's birthday box as it came through the paddock. That's what I took out when I put a couple of tins in. And that's gone. And now I did a Party Line, which was a gift. And now I'm doing Vanilla Rum, which was a gift. So what I'm going to do next, when Vanilla Rum is done, I'm going to line up all my sample bags. I probably have 20 or 30. I might have more than that all of you have sent me. So I'm just going to line them up on the desk and just smoke through them one sample bag at a time. I've got about 3 weeks until I leave for Wyoming, and I'll just take those bags with me and continue that process. I don't know how long it'll take. I mean, it could literally take me 20 or 30 weeks to get through it. Which puts me out into March or April, but that's sort of my intent. I'd like to get through all the samples you guys have gifted me. And then I'll have to look at all the gifted tins because there's probably another 10 or 20 gifted full tins that I've not touched or opened yet. And I don't know what I'll do. I'd like to smoke into my own, my own paddock, my own cellar occasionally. So we'll see. But that's my intent right now. So if you sent me a sample, I promise you I still have it. It'll go in the sample lineup. In fact, I'll show you the sample lineup once I get it all laid out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. So I did that slight correction on the light and then just been patient with it for the last 5 minutes. You can see it's with one touch up, it kind of evened up. So it's nice and lit. It's burning well. You don't want to mess with your light you want to mess with it as little as possible. Hopefully not at all, but if you got If you got a slow burn inside, you want to touch it with the flame and get it caught up. But every time you do that correction, give it 10 minutes or so. See if it worked. Otherwise, you just be touching this side, then that side, and pretty soon all you're doing is playing catch up, and the cigar never has time to burn right. So I guess the other thing I should address is a bunch of comments have come in saying, "Oh my God, how the hell are you going to smoke all that in your lifetime? I'm 60. What am I smoking another 20 years?" And I know there's no way one man can burn through that tobacco. I knew that. I kind of knew that going in. And so I'm really just allowing, one, I've said it many times, I'm letting the market tell me what are they doing with HU. Are they gonna reblend it? Are they gonna leave it alone? Are they gonna stop making the blends? Are they gonna bring it all to the U.S.? I just don't know. The other thing I'm doing is I'm just letting some age getting these tins. I mean, maybe even 2 or 3 years before we do anything. I really just don't know yet. I had 1,000 tins before, and you saw me add 750 a day, so we're just under 2,000 tins for HU in the paddock, and so I'm not sure opening an online store for that small an amount makes sense, or maybe it makes a lot of sense. I don't know, but I don't need to make any decisions on it. I'm not rushed, which is how I like to do things. Um, if you have suggestions, make them, and I'll factor them into my thoughts. But right now, I have no timeline to make a decision. You can keep asking me, but I really don't have any plans for it. And it may be 2 or 3 years before I decide what to do with it. You'll see me gift. I've been gifting it a lot. Every time I sent the box out, there was a tin of HU in it, and I probably did a couple hundred boxes. Um, when traveling boxes come through, I typically throw HU in. So we'll gift and gaw. We'll do some of that, but what are we gonna do with 2010? So the answer is I don't know right now. It's gonna stay that way for a while, I think. So give you a little update on on Denver, Colorado. The most troubling fact is my son made it safely back to Denver to his home today. So he left the Wyoming home after 22 days and got back safely to Denver. So there's good and bad in that. So these are Venezuelan gangs. They made a decision to go after Denver. They made a decision to go after Aurora because apparently Aurora has a large Venezuelan population already living in that suburb. They went after a high-rise set of condos or apartments that have a high concentration of Venezuelans already in them. And apparently, what they're doing is they're walking in and telling them, "You start paying rent to us now, not your landlord. If you don't pay rent to us, you're gone." I'm not sure what they mean by that, but there's a couple of ways you can go with that. And so these whole apartment complexes are switching over to these gang members now. The mayor of Aurora has said, "Well, we're sweeping them all out. We're going to take care of this." And then the police chief came out and said they really don't have anywhere near the resources to do that. And so they were turned into the governor, and the governor has come out and officially said, "It's all in your imagination, guys. This is not nearly what you guys are making it out to be." So, kind of insane. So, the unconfirmed rumor of the situation is apparently the Hell's Angels have said, "Well, they'll go in and take care of it if law enforcement can't." What they mean is, I think they'll go in and kick out the Venezuelans, and they'll take the rent money and the drug money. So that should be an interesting situation if it actually happens. I don't know if it would. It's hard to verify all these grassroots, you know, trucker protests, biker protests. None of them seem to be quite what they say they're going to be. So I don't know where that's going. So I'll have to add this to an idiot's introduction part 2 to cigars, but it matters how you smoke your cigar. It matters how quickly or how slowly you smoke your cigar. The cigar is meant to burn all 3 layers at the same time to give it the flavor profile the roller the manufacturer intends. It means the wrapper, the binder, and the filler all need to burn at the same rate. However, depending on how you smoke it, you can change the rate of how those 3 layers burn. If you chooch the cigar, you're going to burn the wrapper first. If you go really, really slow, ignore it, let it go out. Don't let your cigar go out. Relighted cigars taste like shit. But if you burn really, if you anti-chooch it, reverse chooch it, just don't smoke it very much. Draw on it every couple of minutes. Then the filler burns because that's where the cherry is, the burning cherry, just like in pipes, is right down in the middle there. And the way you can tell, and I'll show it to you when I get there, is when the ash comes off, you either have a flat break where the ash comes off, or you have a cone, and actually the cone will stick out. And that means you're chooching it, you're burning the wrapper too quick. You're burning the wrapper faster than the filler and binder. And so the inside sticks out like a cone. Or you have a reverse cone, which I almost never see because I'm not that slow of a smoker. The cone actually goes inbound because that means the cherry's burning without you breathing through it, so it doesn't burn the filler and the wrapper. The filler and the wrapper, so you get a reverse cone. So you get flat when you're doing it right, cone sticking out when you're chooching it, reverse cone if you're doing it too slow. You know, on a draw every minute is a nice pace. And I probably do twice that. And so there's many times I have a little cone sticking out when the ash comes off. The other thing, cigars tend to get stronger or more bold as they burn down, so the last third is much different than the first 2/3. Also, the air you're pulling through it will start to heat up because the cherry gets closer and closer and closer. And you see me, I get out what I call my roach clip and put it on here. And sometimes I'm breathing pretty smoking hot air by the time it gets down there. So that's why they talk about like Churchill's double Coronas. They give you a super cool smoke because the cigar is so long. So another thing, a cigar, even more so than a pipe, forces you to slow down, in my opinion. So once you light this, you either got to smoke it or toss it. Like if I were to be done now, what am I, not even a third of the way through it? If I said, shit, I don't have any more time, at least 20 minutes is all I had, you basically got to throw this away. Um, Trying to save it for tomorrow is an absolute disaster with cigars, at least in my experience. With pipes, most pipe bowls are 15 to 30 minutes, and you can be done. Or you set the bowl down and come back to it in a few hours, or even overnight, and it really doesn't affect the flavor that bad. So it's just something to think about. How big a cigar are you lighting up? Do you have the time to back it up? I'm usually out here in the dog yard or the fireside chats for an hour to an hour and a half. So I generally can smoke any size cigar I choose. So I've been talking to you about the paddock project because we're coming towards the end of the actual entire project. One thing I haven't talked about since I started back in November is I'm doing it pretty much the cheapest way possible. You know, those carpets you see in the paddock are the cheapest roll carpet I could find on Amazon. Those leather chairs are the cheapest things I could find on Amazon. Those lamps are the cheapest thing. That bar that I have, I mean, they come in that dreaded flat box, with 2 billion parts. Those shelving units, they cost $127 for two, so it's just crazy. Those work tables are a couple $100. Now, my big screens I paid real money for, but I do work on them, so I can't afford to have it go not done right. And clearly the work I had done in the paddocks to make them car worthy, and the cars I have in there, none of that, not what I'm talking about. But you see all that furniture and carpet and chairs and everything. I mean, that's all done, really, literally for $150 a pop. It feels really good. I ordered the last set of bookshelves today. They've already shipped, and I'll clean up what I call my junk tables. And then I've got some rearranging to do with stuff I have on the floor up onto the last industrial shelf unit, and then I'm done. I mean, it's the whole, all three warehouses of the paddock are going to be really useful and clean and organized. It's becoming a really wonderful place to spend time. I mean, I literally go there almost every day. All right, just another look at how good that ash is holding on. That's really a hallmark of a really well-constructed cigar. If it can hold a quarter to a third of its length in the burned ash, you know you're burning something that's quality made. Several of you reacted to me throwing cigars on the ground. Maybe I wasn't clear. I did that when I played golf. I did that 30 years ago. I don't throw cigars on the ground anymore. And somebody said, "Hey, you need this magnetic holder. You need this magnetic sleeve." Bunch you responded like that. I don't do that anymore. I own golf clubs, but I haven't played a game of golf in a year, and I probably play once a year or twice a year. It's just not my thing. I enjoyed it for years. For years, I played 3, 4, 5 times a week. In the evenings, on the weekends. I was a member at the local club for a while, but I've kind of played it out. I'm done. I'm not really. I enjoy the game. If I'm going with my some boys that I enjoy, it sounds good. But for me just to go play golf, it's not really my thing anymore. So I assure you, I don't take these cigars and throw them on the ground. That's just not how I roll anymore. I'll give you a fire update out in Wyoming. It's probably less of a risk today than it was a week ago. So it's moving the right direction. It's moving very slowly. Summer is broken out there. It's officially fall. I mean, the temperatures are way down. They've gotten 2 or 3 snowfalls. The fire's up high near Togety Pass, which is 10,000 feet. I think there's fires at 7 and 8,000 feet, and they're starting to get some snow up there. So, as long as they can kind of keep it contained, which is really all they're trying to do, is just keep it from going crazy. Um, probably put itself out in the next couple of weeks. So I'm not nearly as concerned as I was a week ago. I don't see any need for me to leave early. I'll probably get back to Wyoming on about the 23rd, so 3 weeks, 3 weeks from today, 3 weeks from tomorrow, something like that. That's the plan. So it was fun to see a bunch of you on Blue Ridge Pipers Live yesterday. I popped into the live room for a little while, which I just never do, but it happened to be live when I had a minute, so I stopped by. I really respect that guy. I love how he thinks. He's a great leader. He's a great role model for that 20-something age group. He's married, got a kid, got a full-time job, hard worker. His head and heart's in the right place. So I just like supporting him a lot. And it was good to see a bunch of you in there. And that reminds me, because he's a truck driver, Truck and Piper Doug is writing a book, which I think is pretty damn cool. So hopefully he'll give his book updates from time to time. And then long haul truckers have an ELD, electronic logging document, I think. The truck logs whenever it's in idle, when it's off, and when it's being driven. And there are federal restrictions on how many hours a trucker can drive at once without a break, how long that break has to be, and then over 24 hours there's an absolute maximum. All that's automatically tracked by the status of the engine and the transmission in the truck. And I've asked Doug maybe to give us a little bit of a primer on what are those regulations and how does that ELD work, because I think it's pretty fascinating, and it does restrict the truck driver quite a bit to what they used to do. And lots of times the first thing a state trooper will do if they pull a truck over is say, let me see your driving log. So it's pretty serious. It can really hurt you if you do it wrong or try to get around it. It's been fun to watch. Two people change in front of our eyes. Corvette Jim and Trucking Piper Doug. I mean, it's Trucking Piper, but I call him Doug because we hear a lot more from Trucking Piper Bob over there on the other side of the pond. They both have changed completely how they're eating, how they're sleeping. Even Chuck and Piper talked about getting Dixie out for a walk, but guess what? He's walking her, so you can hear the difference in him. I mean, his videos a year ago versus today, completely different. And Corvette Jim, the last 2 days, he sounds like a different person, eating different and moving. It's so simple a plan. Corvette Jim, if you're going to eat oatmeal, buddy, eat steel cut Irish oatmeal. It spikes your blood sugar less than any other product and is slow digesting, so it's really good for you. It's better than any other oatmeal for you. Steel cut Irish oatmeal. Comes in a tin with a tobacco looking lid, actually. Actually, it looks like a large tin of tobacco, actually, if you look at it in the grocery store. I find it pretty easy to get. Like my local Safeway and Giant, and we have 3 grocery stores. Can't think of the other one right now, but they all carry it. It's pretty easy, pretty basic product. There's my one Mr. Helpful. I guess I can't do one video without being Mr. Helpful somehow. All 4 dogs are close by, so I just thought I'd give you a dog watch. There goes Echo. She's our 4-year-old. There's Chance, being Chance. And here goes Finn, thinking he might dig a little more in his hole. Sort of Finn's hole. And there's Sasha out there doing something probably bad. Let's take a look. We're watching her now. There's the latest dog roundup. Give you cigar burn update. It's probably been a half hour or better. They got a little bit of lagging on this side now, but overall it's burning well. It's got a slight curve to it. Probably got a third of its ash now. So ash and managing ash on your cigar is a tricky thing. You don't want to be bashing your cigar or anything. You want it so that the lightest touch, with your finger up here, knocks it off. You don't want to be knocking it against the ashtray or knocking it on your chair or whatever you're, depending on where you're sitting. Because you don't want to break off the cherry. You don't want to break off part of the cherry. So sometimes I ash is what it's called. It's a verb. It means the ash end falls off and falls on you or your chair or your furniture, your pants. That's not good either, but your cigar likes that, but obviously it's a mess. This baby's burning great, tastes great. It's a really fine cigar. Anyway, I could knock this ash off, but I like playing the game. Alright guys, wow, you can tell the light's really nice and getting a nice pink. Maybe I'll show it to you in a minute. Alright, you can see this is the original end of the cigar. It still hasn't dropped in the ash, so it's got about a third of it in ash now, and even the best cigars are not going to be able to hold much more than that. So I'm going to tap it right now, and we'll see what the end looks like once it comes off. Maybe I can show you what one of those cones looks like. I'm just going to tap it. Yeah, that was perfect. It landed on my chair arm. That's a little messy. So if I had an ashtray, I'd clean this up a little bit with the ashtray. But see, there's almost no cone to it. You gotta, sorry guys, I mean, I got some just crap hanging on it. Got the slightest of cone sticking out. That means I'm slightly over smoking my cigar, which I do every time. That's about the best mine ever look. You can see it's really pretty flat. But that is something I really had to learn and practice over the last year, is slowing down on my cigar smoking. For me, it takes conscious will. And sitting here and smoking, it really was really helps me is talking to you guys, filming these vids, recording these vids while smoking a cigar really does help me slow down on me smoking. Yeah, that's just as good as it was. So we're into the second third, or maybe even the second half of this cigar, and it's just as good. I don't think the strength has changed a whole lot. Nice, pleasant retrohale. Yeah, that's why part of the reason I love these guys. In fact, for a cigar to crawl into my top 5 or 6, which I still have to do a top 10 for you, it really kind of has to be that way, where you can smoke it all the way down to the nub and it's still a good smoke. But the price climbs when you do that as well. All right, so I'm going to swing over and show you kind of how nice the color is here. You can see it through the trees. A nice orange. Wow, just beautiful out here right now. I am very blessed. I know it. This is my backyard. I see this every day I'm here in Maryland, and it's a great place to come out and spend time with the dogs and you guys and having my cigar. I guess the next thing to talk about is, when do you take the band off? And that's sort of a religious conversation. Some guys take all the shit off their cigars before they even light them. Some guys take them off after they've lit for a while or smoked for a while. I take mine off at the last minute. As soon as, when it starts to almost burn the band, I pull it off. And the reason is these are held together with a little bit of fruit pectin right here. And where the band overlaps, where you feel the seam, my seam is right here. And so for right in this area, there's fruit pectin. And fruit pectin is heat sensitive. And so rather than tear the band off and all that, I wait for it to get like this, because then the fruit pectin is quite warm and it just peels off. So another few minutes, I'll try to peel it off for you on camera. All right, guys, you can kind of see the cigar is burned down pretty much to the band. This is where this is where all the guys in the cigar shop start yelling at me, take that band off, god damn it. So I just got a feel for well, you can even see it on camera. There's the seam right there. I'm gonna pick it. See how easy that comes? Just peels and off it comes. That's because that fruit pectin is super hot and it basically melts, comes straight off. You don't even tear the band. So if you're a band saver, or if you want to be a band saver, let your cigar burn down to the band and it comes right off. Hey, one more thing I want to show you in a couple minutes when this is burned down a little bit more. I'll show you my nub holder, my cigar tool. And I think we'll end the video after that. All right, guys, we're losing the light. These cameras are so damn good. Let me show you what let me show you what I really like out here. This is about what how light it is right now out here. These cameras are so good at managing the light, though. I gotta take about 10 swipes to get it back. That's with it only about 2/3 of light management turned on. If I put it up all the way, it'd be really bright. So it's kind of deceiving. But while I got you, I'm going to go ahead and show you the last piece of the cigar stuff. That's my cigar tool. These things are cheap as hell. They've got two different punch cuts on them. See if I can do this. No. So there's a little punch. And then this side's bigger and it's got a bigger punch cut. There's a big punch, a little punch, and then you screw the little punch side out, all the way out, you get a auger for managing a tough draw cigar. I hate it when I have to use it. I absolutely hate fighting my cigars. And if I take this side off, the bigger side, if I take that all the way off, I get my nub tool and I just punch it all the way through till I feel it actually stab my finger a little bit. Now I've got a nice way to hold my nubby. Pretty cool little cigar tool. Bought it on Amazon, probably cost 10 bucks. But if you're going to be a high quality cigar smoker and you wish to get the last quarter of your cigar out smoking it, the nub tool is a really nice way to do it. Now, the last thing we talk about is purging. When the cigar gets down to this level, sometimes you want to purge it, which means you blow through the cigar. Usually 2 or 3 blows purges all the, if you're starting to get a little bit of a bad taste. And purging's like religion. It's another item that's a debatable thing. A lot of people say, no, it ruins your cigar. I never purge. Some people say I purge every cigar. I'm in neither camp. I occasionally purge, especially these big Partagas blacks. I'll purge them when I get down to the end. Cleans them up a little bit. I find that it makes the draw as good as when you started the cigar. So I'm gonna end my cigar talk on that part. It's kind of amazing. One thing I thought I was gonna be able to show you, because I snipped too much of that cap off, I thought it was gonna unravel, and it unraveled for 1 second at the very beginning and hasn't unraveled at all since. So I think it goes to the quality of the build of these cigars. I snipped the entire cap off. I'll show you what that means sometime. And this cigar did not unravel. God, man, I've been sitting out in this beautiful environment. My drink is basically gone. My cigar is gone. And boy, do I feel good again. Wow. Just such a great hour in my life to come out here and sit with you guys. And I feel so good at the end of the hour. The cigar gives me just enough of a nick hit that it actually calms me. Nick hits usually calm me down. They don't fire me up. So I've always been a huge fan of cigars for that reason. And combine that with a drink. This is my Tito's and cranberry juice. And oh God, it feels good. I've kept you long enough. I've kept you too long, probably. So God, may God bless you. May He bless the lives of those around you. May God turn His ear to your prayer. And may God make His face shine upon you. And may He bless your life as well as He blesses mine. Guys, hope you're having a great Sunday. Good Sunday night. And we will talk again tomorrow from the paddock. Good night, everybody.